Hello students, I am your history teacher Ali Muhammad. Today we are going to discuss an important topic. The title of the topic is Ancient Indian History. Before going to discuss actual topic, you know there was a great civilization that was existed in the subcontinent that was named as Indus Valley Civilization. Number of scholars have discussed about Indus Valley Civilization, its development, its origin, its literature. But after the fall of the Indus Valley Civilization, there was chaos, confusion, wars, tussle up to 600 BC. But after the 600 BC, there was a great development in the settlements, the development of cities, and emergence of powerful kingdoms. Now, you know very well, we'll discuss briefly about the developments. Several developments that took place in the span of 1500 years. The first development was the development of agriculture. Because you know very well, the societies in ancient India were agrarian societies. The main occupation of the people was agriculture. The second development that took place, that Rig Veda, the old Indian literature, the religious book of India, was composed by people along the Indus and its tributaries. And the development that took place was the formation of coins. Another important development that took place, you have to remember, my dear students, that was the disposal of dead. Megaliths, stone structures were elaborated, erected. These were some developments that took place in the span of 1500 years. Now, coming to another point, that is Prinsep and Piyadassi. Prinsep, James Prinsep, the great archaeologist, the great English scholar, who was appointed an officer in the East India Company. His contribution is tremendous, everlasting contribution in deciphering the two oldest scripts of ancient India. The scripts were Kharosthi and Brahmi scripts. With the help of this man, with the help of this great historian, with the help of this great scholar from England, number of hidden things came into being. We were able to know more precisely about the ancient Indian history. Now the word Piadasi, it is a word derived from Pali, and Piyadarshini, the word existed from Sanskrit. The word is mentioned for the ever great ruler Ashoka. Piadasi means pleasant to behold. That historians, there is a perception regarding the Piadasi. It was mentioned for the kindness, for the service provided by the great Ashoka. It was a compliment given to Ashoka. That's why there is a word Piadasi, means pleasant to behold. Come to the next point, my dear students, that the early states during the time of Mahajanapadas. It was an era that gave us the knowledge about the agriculture. It was an era of developing iron. With the help of iron, the rulers, the kingdoms made number of tools, number of weapons. It was an era when new kinds of coins were minted by rulers for their prosperity, for the trade. It was an era when towns came into being, the number of towns, where people used to move, where people used to come for the trade, for the exchange of their production. We have number of sources. Students, it is very important for us to introduce, to know about the sources. History totally depended upon sources. We have number of sources. We have reliable sources like Buddhist texts, Buddhist literature and Jaina literature. The two important and reliable sources that I am going to discuss with you, which have mentioned the number of 16 states. The 16 states were known as Mahajanapadas, Angutara Niyaka and Bhagavati Sutra. These two names, these two sources that give us an ocean of knowledge about the existence and the superiority and the prosperity of the 16 states that emerged in subcontinent and parts of Karnataka. These 16 states used to fight each other. What was the main, ideology? What was the main purpose? These 16 states used to fight each other for the possession of more and more lands. Above from these sources, we have the texts prepared by Brahmins, Dharma Sutras, Dharma Shastras. We have Puranas. They have given the codification that how a king rule in a society. What is the responsibility of a king towards his subjects? So today we are going to discuss here one of the great, one of the important, one of the powerful state that was existed in the subcontinent, in the parts of Bengal and Bihar. That state was known as Magadha. The rise of Magadhan Empire, the superiority of Magadhan Empire. There are so many reasons. The historians, the scholars, the great writers have given us number of reasons that why the Magadhan state existed, why it became so powerful, why this Magadhan have controlled, occupied number of states. There are many reasons. Today we'll discuss some important reasons. You know very well, as far as the history is concerned, it is a subject that deals with every scenario in a society. The first important point about the Magadha, why he was so powerful, why he was so authentic, why the Magadha have controlled the whole of the, northern India. The reason was its geographical location. Magadha was located in a such strategic position. It has a protection, naturally protection. In the north, it was protected by mountains, by Ganga, if you talk about, and in the south, it was protected by Vindhya mountains. In the west, it was protected by, there was a river Son that provides the Magadhan people, the Magadhan rulers, navigation. And in the east, it was protected by Champa. So, if we talk about the geographical location of Magadha, it had a strategic position. It was easy for the Magadhan rulers, for the Magadhan people and subject to move. So that's why that became an important reason for us to know that Magadha was a great state, a powerful state. And if we talk about the contemporary states like Avanti, like Chedi, like Cambodia, like Gandhara, all these states lacked the location. They were the locked states, but Magadha was a very, very important and prosperous state. The second reason, if we discuss second reason about why Magadha was so powerful, that was the resources. That was particularly the iron ores, iron mines. Magadha was a state, it has such location where iron was extracted very easily. And the reason, and that's why that weapons, tools were always available in Magadha. And with the help of the weapons, with the help of these tools, Magadhan rulers they have adopted a huge army. That became one of the important points for the rise of Magadhan. Next important point, if we discuss, that was the economic condition, the economic prosperity of Magadhan people. Magadhan area, it was a fertile area. The land was very fertile. And the occupation of the people was agriculture. Land was available, vast land was available. The Magadhan rulers, the Magadhan people, they have, with the help of iron tools, with the help of axes, they clarified the vast patches of forests and converted the land into agricultural land. So in those days, the agriculture was one of the main and principal occupation for the people. So the Magadhan were rich in production, and the surplus production was transported to other areas. So financially, so economically, the Magadhan state was rich. Another important topic, another important point you have to remember, my dear students, that the contribution of rulers, the Magadhan rulers. The Magadha was ruled by three different great dynasties. The Magadha was ruled by three great dynasties. The first dynasty that ruled in Magadha, it was Haryanka Dynasty. Haryanka Dynasty there were great rulers like Bimbisara, like Ajatashattu. These were the two great rulers of Haryanka Dynasty who have contributed a lot. In the Magadhan prosperity. They have developed Magadha in every respect. They had a complete control on Magadhan politician. The second dynasty that ruled in Magadha, it was Sisunaga Dynasty. Sisunaga Dynasty was one of the powerful dynasties in those days. And the contribution of the rulers was to what? To control, to occupy new lands, to raise the domain of the Magadha. That's why Magadha was huge and powerful dynasty. The third dynasty that was ruled in Magadha, I mean to say that were Nandas. Mahapadma Nanda was a great conqueror, was a great ruler. He was a great statesman. He has a good political vision. He has a good political thoughts. He developed every thought in a good way to develop the Magadhan state and to, we can say, to make Magadha one of the great, powerful and authoritative state during 600 BC to 600 CE. And after the fall of Nandas, Magadha not lost its influence, and new rulers and new dynasty came into being, that were the Mauryans, that will be discussed later on. And now we'll discuss the mode of administration. Now I'll discuss that during the 600 BC to 600 CE, we have seen that the number of systems, the number of political systems that have been introduced in these 16 states. Most of the Mahajanapadas, most of the states during 600 BC to 600 CE were ruled by kings. You know, students, when there is a kingship, that is known as monarchy, the monarchy system. In monarchy, the whole power controlled by a king. He is absolute. He can remove the decisions taken by the assembly. Everything is controlled by king. He has the right to take decision. He has the right to impose taxes, and he has the right to to make changes whenever he requires, whenever he needs. So most of the Mahajana states were controlled by kings, like Magadha. Why Magadha was so powerful? Why Magadha have occupied the vast area? The reason is that the Magadhan state was controlled by kings. There were dynasties, as I have mentioned. Bimbisara, the great ruler, the great conqueror, his son Ajatashatru, the great warrior and the statesman, and a new dynasty, Sisunaga, they have contributed a lot. Another dynasty, that was Nandas, Mahapadma Nanda, great ruler. During the time of Mahapadma Nanda, his military force was at its height. He having 60,000 infantry forces, 60,000 infantry forces, 60,000 horsemen, cavalry, and 6,000 elephants, majestic elephants. All these forces, all these military powers were used to conquer, to annex the nearby areas, the nearby states. The reason why Magadha was so powerful, it was ruled by the rulers. I have mentioned before a while about the great rulers, that was Bimbisara, Ajatashatru, Mahapadma Nanda. So that's why we have seen that the Magadhan have developed, have adopted the kingship, the monarchy. You know, in a monarchy, the power is controlled by king. He has no assistance. There is no any other organization that can help the king in his administration. That was controlled, everything was controlled by king. Everything was occupied by king. He exercised all the powers in his own hands. Some of the Mahajanapadas were ruled by Ganas or Sanghas. When we talk about Ganas or Sanghas, we can say in a new term, as far as the political term is concerned, we say them oligarchies. Oligarchy is a rule, is a government, is a system, is a political system when power is exercised by a group of people, where decision makers are few, where decision makers are, say a kind of a council. So, very few Mahajanapadas were ruled by Sanghas or Ganas. Sanghas or Ganas is a term in Sanskrit as well as in Pali language. But in a political term, we can say the government which is ruled by, the government, the power which is exercised by a very few people, that's called oligarchy. And some Mahajanapadas were controlled by republic. There was a republican form of government. If you remember, my dear students, in class 11th, there was a Roman civilization. There was a great civilization, Romans, and Romans have adopted such kind of administrative system based on republics. You know, there was a Senate, a powerful institution that was controlled by aristocrat classes. So same if we talk about these Mahajanapadas, they were controlled, they were ruled by republics. Republic means, what does it mean? It means a government, a form of a government where the head of the state is controlled, is elected by people for a specific period of time. There was an organization in such Mahajanapadas who were ruled by the republican form of government. There was an organization. The organization was named as Santhagras. Santhagras was like an organization like Roman Senate, like aristocrats who have elected a person. Jointly they have elected a person, a Raja, a king, a landlord, who used it to what? To exercise his powers. But he was not absolute there. He can't take decisions by his own. Whenever he takes decisions, he took the help of the community, the organization, the council. So we can say that the Mahajanapadas, these 16 Mahajanapadas, were ruled differently in a different way. And that's what we have seen. If you can compare those states who were controlled by republics, if you can compare those Mahajanapadas who were controlled by Sanghas or Ganas, or we can say oligarchy, and if we compare the state like Magadha that was ruled by a king, there is tremendous difference as far as the politician is concerned. Because in kingship, decisions were taken by one person. He can take decisions firmly. He can do anything. He has no need to take the assistance, take the help. He has no need to inform the subjects, inform the councillor. There is no councillor at all. So, but in republics, whenever a Raja, whenever king, whenever landlord wants to make a change, he has to take the decision, he has to take the help and assistance of other people. So that's why there was a lack of economic development. So that's why we have seen the Magadha have emerged as a great power because of the contribution of the rulers. And what we have seen later on during the time of Nandas, that Nanda, after the death of Mahapadmananda, the great warrior, the great conqueror, another important change. Once again change emerged. Once again a political change as well as an economic change emerged in northern India, in the parts of subcontinent, in the parts of Karnataka. We have seen that Nanda, he was defeated. Some historians believe that he was killed on spot. But Buddhist texts give us information that he was kept. He was kept as a prison. And some historians say that he was what? He was left when the great Chandragupta Maurya occupied Magadha. At that time, the Nandas were the dynasty. At that time, the Nandas have ascended the throne. But last Nanda, Dhanananda, he was defeated, he was killed, he was, kept prison by Chandragupta and his statesman, his ever great scholar, his advisor, Chanakya or Kautilya or Vishnugupta. There is a history behind this incident, that once when Chanakya, Vishnugupta, when he entered in Magadha during the time of Dhanananda, he was insulted. He was insulted. His values were decried openly by Dhanananda. And after a few years, Chanakya, with the help of his friend, with the help of his associate, Chandragupta Maurya, the founder of Mauryan dynasty, they came back and they defeated the Dhanananda with iron hand, crushed it with iron hand. And then that was the beginning of a new dynasty that was one of the important, powerful dynasty that generally called Mauryan dynasty. So dear students, this is for today. We'll meet next time with a new interesting topic. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.